of War Week Radio. Happy New Year to everybody. Guys, it seems like it's been somewhat of an eternity since we've been back on the air. But, guys, we are back. Happy 2021 to everyone. Thank God we're finally past 2020. Hope everyone is safe and COVID-free. But, guys, before we move forward with the program, we do have to remind everyone that this show is brought to you by FightSaga.com. Guys, for all the latest boxing news, please go visit FightSaga.com. I'll tell you what, we had a huge fight this past Saturday night on DAZN. What a way to kick off the new year. And, well, I've been really chomping at the bit to discuss this with 5-decade fight trainer, the one and only Mr. James Gogue. James, how the heck are you, brother?
Hey, Joe, I'm good. Ready to go tonight. Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year, brother. Hope you had an excellent holiday weekend. But it's time to get back to work. And I tell you what, on Saturday night, or Saturday day, rather, to appease the, expansion of DAZN in the UK, they adjusted the time. So, yeah, we had an afternoon affair, and it was a lightweight brawl. It was outstanding. What an entertaining fight in which Ryan Garcia finally steps up in competition, proves his naysayers and critics wrong, maybe, and knocks out Luke Campbell in the 7th round, improves his record to 21 wins, 0 losses, 18 big wins coming by way of knockout. So at the tender age of 22, he is currently the toast of the boxing world to start the new year. Gogue, well, how would you grade Ryan Garcia's performance?
Well, he made a big hit. He moved the needle, Joe, actually. You know what I mean? There was a good lively crowd there that really had a lot of energy that really, made the event exciting on TV and everything. Because, Joe, like I said, when you got a fighter and he's starting to become on the verge of becoming a superstar. He's not a superstar yet, but he's on the verge of becoming a superstar, and he's on the verge of becoming a draw. You know what I mean? Where boxing people are fans and mainstream fans are actually going out there to support him and buy a ticket. Okay, because that's what's hurting boxing nowadays is the lack of ticket sellers, and you're getting a guy who's on the verge of becoming that. Just the excitement he created. And the the sense of anticipation for this fight to happen, then to score, a spectacular knockout like that with himself being dropped, there was a lot of intrigue. It was a compelling fight. I got to give him an A all around. I got to give him an A for, from the marketing standpoint, the energy, the crowd, the excitement on it, how he looked on TV, the way he performed in his first big fight, the way how he came, got off his ass and came back to, to score the knockout. He moved the needle, Joe. A lot of people are starting to recognize this kid now that he's, a potential superstar.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I stated, he proved all his critics and naysayers wrong, maybe. Well, because, you were one of those guys, Gogue.
Yeah.
Admittedly.
Well, Joe.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
He's still got to prove himself. Don't forget, he didn't fight. He didn't knock out Devin. What's that guy's name? What's that guy's name, man? The big mouth, the kid that talks all that smack. He's got that. Yeah, Haney. He didn't knock out. I don't even remember. I can't even half these fucking guys now. Because to me, they got bullshit belts and everything. He didn't knock out him, or he didn't beat the top dogs. He beat the bridesmaid. Okay, a guy that every time he stepped up to the plate, he lost. Okay, That's all he did. He beat the bridesmaid. He didn't beat one of the top. The big dogs. I'm talking about is the 135-pound weight division. So, but yeah, he's getting better. He's getting better, but you can still see Joe. He's still a kid with a lot of raw God-given talent and ability, but he still doesn't have the skill sets. He still lacks the skill sets yet, and that's something. God dang, man, he's had a lot of fights, and he still hasn't evolved and developed them skills he needs to compete with guys like Teofimo, Lomachenko, Devin Haney, or Tank Davis. Okay, and his defense is a lot of holes in his defense that got to get better. His footwork's got to get better, and he a guy that don't even know how to use his jab yet to make the fights easier, to where he can dictate the pace and control the fight better. You know what I mean, Joe? So his inside fighting is non-existent. All these little things like he don't even know how to, what do you call it, Joe? He uses feints good and everything. He'll hit them little quick feints just to freeze you and everything, but he just doesn't have a jab. With his size and his length and his quickness and that little that quick twitch muscles in his hand speed, he should be able to use that jab consistently and to control you at range and everything. But like I said, there's a lot of stuff he still needs to develop to evolve into a more diverse all-around fighter. And right now, I'm still doing that right now. I'm still critical of that and everything. But overall, it's I still give him an A for his performance last night.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest mysteries surrounding Ryan Garcia before this fight was something that the late great Don Chargan, our mentor, always stated when trying to assess a prospect. He used to always say, well, don't get too high on any prospect until you see how well he can take a punch. He showed that he can fight through adversity, showed a lot of heart. One thing that really surprised me, Gogue, he came out not really showing a veteran, tough guy like Luke Campbell, guy with a lot more experience, guy with heavy hands, a guy who understands range, distance, and is very poised in the ring. He didn't show him any respect from the outset. He came out guns a-blazing, and he kind of paid for it in round 2 on the knockdown. And we're going to ask you to walk us through that knockdown and what you saw and how that happened. But what surprised me the most, he got up, kind of recovered, and then he immediately went right after Luke Campbell again. Were you a bit surprised that he started to take it right to Campbell once again?
Joe, let's get this straight, okay? Nowadays, when these motherfuckers get knocked on their ass and they get up, the fans call them superheroes. Back in the days, that was part of the culture. When you got knocked on your ass, it was expected that you got up and fought through that adversity and overcame and changed the momentum of the fight. But now, you're considered a fucking superhero if you do that. So, you know what I mean? It was, to me, what he did was something I expected him to do, okay? If you're going to be a star, if you get knocked on your ass, you get your ass up and you go pay the guy back. And that's one thing I seen in his eyes yesterday. When he got up, I looked at his eyes, a lot of times now when these young bitches, no balls, get knocked on their ass. First thing I do is look at their eyes and see, if I see that fear or panic in their eyes or that quit, or that little puppy, that little cute little puppy look like, you know what I mean? But now I seen the kid that when he got knocked down, I could see that. Okay, I'm gonna get you back, motherfucker. I could see that, that anger, that embarrassment, that rage. Like, okay, I'm gonna get your ass back now. And what happens? Yeah, he shook it off. He was in good shape. See, Joe, when you're in good shape and you get knocked down, you shouldn't panic, man. Because if you're in good shape, you'll snap out of it and everything. It's just a quick knockdown. You'll snap out of it and you'll get your senses back. But you just got to keep your composure and poise. Nowadays, when you get knocked down, when these kids get knocked down, I see too much panic and fear. And they don't know how to handle themselves in a moment like that. But Garcia, yeah, he got up, and you can see that fire. Like, okay, I'm going to get this guy back. So he let his head clear for a few seconds, then he started going back after him and everything.
Indeed, it was very impressive. Now, going back to the first round, you could see, right, him having some success and, giving Luke Campbell a sample of his power. And then Campbell made an adjustment where he started stepping around Garcia's front foot, putting Garcia's head right in the direct line of fire, and Garcia never made the adjustment to try and step to the left. Yeah. And I said to myself, you know what? It's only a matter of time before he gets caught with a counter left hand, and right in the second round. Talk us through that. How did Campbell set up that beautiful swinging left hand?
Set it up with that touch jab to the body. That made him lower his hands. He thought, what's his name, set it up beautifully. What he was doing, he was throwing that straight left hand to the body a lot, okay, of Garcia. Okay, when you do that a lot, you throw that jab and that straight left to the body on a right-hander, you think, you keep doing that enough, your first reaction is start lowering your guard when that left hand starts coming, when that left hand starts coming to your body, to protect yourself. You know what I mean? Kind of like, it's like parring a jab. When a guy throws that left hand, straight left hand to the body, you kind of get bring your right hand down and, just to par it away, parry it. But instead of, when you do that jab to the body, instead of, throwing that straight left hand to the body, he's seen Garcia, drop both hands, and he just looped that. It was a sweeping overhand left hand that he hit him with, Joe. It wasn't a straight left. It was like he touched him with the jab of the body. Then he just looped it around, a sweeping left hook, right on his jaw. He was hoping for it. He dropped his damn hand. He went for that jab to the body. Then that was it. That was the opening. All he needed for Campbell to to loop it over the top, and it caught him flush. Yeah, it was a good setup from all those straight left hands, Joe. That's how you open up a guy, Joe. Sometimes you just go out there and throw that jab and throw the punch, that sweeping left hand. You ain't gonna land. But if you set him up with a lot of good straight lefts to the body, then the guys are gonna he's gonna start thinking about that and everything, and he's gonna start lowering them hands, especially that right hand to parry that left hand, and all of a sudden, boom, he was on his ass and everything. He went down hard too. And first thing I said to myself, let me see what he's about now. Let me see how he handles it. Let me see how he bounces back. I was saying to myself, yeah. But the first thing I did, Joe, when I looked into his eyes, I'm like, yeah, he's all right, man. He was, more pissed off and embarrassed about the whole situation and everything. Okay, because he got up quick, Joe. When he got knocked down, he popped right back up, and his legs were pretty steady. They weren't, shaking and wobbly. Okay, he had some good. His legs were, strong and sound. The foundation was there where he could, snap back out of it and come back and, give Luke Campbell the payback.
Yeah, it was amazing. So after the fight, Garcia stated this about the knockdown. He stated, quote, "I got too excited in the moment. I felt I could just walk him down whenever I wanted, but he ended up cracking me. So I had to adjust and calm down. I was a little dizzy with the knockdown, but I wasn't worried about it. He's not used to going forward, so I knew I had to cover up. He never fights coming forward, so I knew he would back up throughout the fight. I'm naturally a counterpuncher, but today I showed I can take it to somebody and knock him out. God told me that it would end with a body shot, and that's what happened." Well, we're getting a little, end quote, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. But, so he comes back, right? And he starts, business as usual. And it's a great fight, back and forth action. Very entertaining. He turned Luke Campbell uncharacteristically into kind of a banger and a slugger in the pocket. And it was very entertaining for the fans in attendance, the 6,000 in attendance, as well as a lot of Ryan Garcia's mainstream and casual fans tuning in. Very entertaining, very exciting, a lot of ebb and flow. And then towards the end of the fifth, Ryan Garcia, with just seconds left in the round, cracked Luke Campbell with a hard left hook, spun him around, in which he was grabbing onto the ropes just to stay up and meet the bell that ended the round. What were your thoughts when you saw all of that? Could you tell that the end was potentially near for Luke Campbell?
Showed me that he could hurt him. That was good. It's a matter of time. That was it.
Indeed. So we go to the 6th, and it's more the same. Ryan Garcia comes out guns a-blazing and tries to end him in the 6th. Well, it doesn't quite happen in the 6th, but you go to about 1:20 in the 7th round. Now talk us through how he set up the body shot that finally put Luke Campbell on his knees for good, with Lawrence Cole counting him out at 10.
Well, he knew Ryan. Ryan Garcia was throwing a lot of lead hooks, a lot of counter left hooks, okay? That's what set up his body shot. Because what happened, Joe, when he kept on throwing them lead hooks, Campbell's hands kept on going higher and higher. I mean, he just lifted his whole hands, his elbows up. He brought his elbows up higher. He brought his forearms, his gloves up higher. And guess what? Left his body exposed and everything, okay? So it was some lead left hooks that set up that left hook to the body. And that set up that lead left hook to the body, and that's what happened. What's his name? Thought the left, Garcia was going to lead with that left hook again, and first thing he did was, raise his hands high. What he did, Joe, he instead of having his elbows nicely tucked in, in a good fundamental stance, you know what I mean? Elbows tucked in, hands up by the eyes, forearms, tucked in. He made the fundamental mistake and lifted him up too high, not protecting his body to protect his head, okay, to make sure he didn't get hit with that left hook. Because like I said, Joe, remember that left hook hurt him. So so his adjustments was, hell, man, I'm gonna sacrifice my body and to make sure my head's protected. So he just, hey Joe, it's fundamentals, Joe. When you block those punches, okay, it comes down to fundamental technique. Okay, keeping your elbows tucked in to your body to protect those hands up by the eyes, nice and tight by your face. So you have your your head all the way to your body, to the body protected and everything. And he didn't have his body protected because he was too worried about getting hit by that left hook. Kenny Atlas mentioned something about it too, saying that it was a fundamental flaw that he did. He lifted up his elbows and his forearms to cover his face, leaving his body exposed. It's just fundamental technique, Joe. That's all. And knowing how to block those punches and everything. But Garcia, boy, he's got a lot of snap, a lot of pop in them hooks. So you got to be careful about him because if you get hurt, you get hit, you're gonna, he'll hurt you and everything. He's a gifted, fast twitch, explosive puncher with that left hook and the right hand too. So, like I said, Joe, it was a what do you call it? When he hit him with that shot, boy, I didn't think he was gonna get up because when you get hit with those shots to the liver, Joe, it paralyzes your whole body, takes all the wind out of you. Just like I said, it paralyzes you where you can't move, and it takes a while for your body to recover from that. Where you get your where you get your legs back, where you get the sensation back and the feelings in your whole body, where you can get your where you can stand up and everything.
Oh, indeed, it makes you appreciate what Arturo Gatti went through in the 9th round in his first fight against Mickey Ward. Getting up from that vicious body shot and then actually finishing the round and the fight.
See, Joe, some fighters have the ability to absorb more punishment and battle back than other fighters, okay? All right, because if Gotti would have got hit with that same shot, I guarantee you he would have got up and Ryan Garcia would have been still in the fight. Okay, some fighters, the older school fighters, okay, they had that. But my guy Tony Lopez, 3-time world champion, had that ability to absorb pain, to get knocked down many times and come back and battle. I've been with him, especially when he fought Freddie Pendleton, one of the greatest fights off TV. That I don't know why it wasn't on Showtime. They put us off TV. It was a fucking joke. It was when we were with Don King, and he got dropped twice the first round by Pendleton. Second round, he got dropped twice again. But he got back up and battled. The third round, or the fourth round, he knocked down Pendleton. Then the following round, he knocked down Pendleton again. You know what I mean, Joe? The fighters back then, they had the ability to absorb more punishment and to recover and battle back. You know, these guys nowadays, you know, it's you don't. It's very rare where you see a guy like that Baranchik fight when he fought Zepeda.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's an aberration nowadays. Back then, it was more of a norm. Okay, the fighters, like I said, they were more mentally and physically tougher with a higher degree of mental intestinal fortitude in them. You know, to keep fighting, even though they get hurt, they get knocked down or whatever. You know, what's his name, Campbell? He got hit with that shot, and he pretty much, like I said, Joe. Everybody, the fighters nowadays they don't have that resiliency like the fighters in the past.
Indeed. Yeah, it sure does seem that way. Gogue, why do you really think that is? I mean, you think it's a lot of obviously it's physical, but you think a lot of it is mental? I mean, because it's shocking because
different culture we're in now, Joe.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Hell yeah, with different culture we're in now, different mindset. Okay, all right. Now guys, what do you call it? You got to worry about them making weight. Okay, you got to worry about them not blowing up between fights. 40, 50 pounds. You know what I mean? Back then, guys were more serious. They were more hardened. Okay, they were more tougher. They didn't have all this social media and all this technology that makes you soft. Okay, back then, all right, it was just newspapers where you got your information and everything, and phone calls, and fighters. Joe, it was just a totally different culture. The mindset of fighters from back then to now. I know I've been in all eras. I trained fighters in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s. Now, now in this era of what do you call it? Cupcakes and everything. So it's different. Well, just look out there. Look at all the politics out there and everything. You know what I mean? It never used to have all that stuff, but now, it's the mindset, Joe. It always starts with the mindset. Okay, and I just remember they were just tougher, Joe. They were just more tougher, more harder. And like I said, Joe, back then fighters went 15 rounds, same day weigh-ins. Okay, different story nowadays.
Indeed. Also, they didn't have really the opportunity to balloon up between fights because they stayed busy and they fought more frequently. Also,
and they stayed in the gym. Joe, I trained fighters back then.
Yep.
Okay, from the 80s. Okay. 90s, okay, 2000, and I train fighters. So I just know there's a difference in the mentality, man. I mean, like I said, when I was with three-time champ Tony Lopez, when he got hurt in the fight, I expected his ass to get up and battle back. Okay,
that's when the fight
no matter
got
how
started.
bad he got hurt or how many times he got dropped. That time with Freddie Pendleton, that showed me a lot about him. When he got dropped 4 times, in the first 2 rounds, and he battled back, man, this motherfucker got balls, man. I mean, Raul Marquez, when he fought Keith Mullins, real tough, grueling fight, defending his title. He had over 100 stitches in his 5 real bad cuts, had over 100 stitches to get him closed up. 2 really fucked up hands, man, that were swollen, that I had to cut them off. I had to cut the gloves off his hands just to get his hands out of the gloves. That's how badly they were swollen and everything.
Oh, jeez.
They were that bad, man, and he had to fight through that pain, through that punishment for 12 grueling rounds. All right, you see what I mean, Joe? Just a difference in mentality, toughness, that will to win, that never say die attitude. Joe Frazier. Remember, look at Frazier. Look when he fought Foreman. Oh, my God. That first time, down goes Frazier. Remember that? Howard Cosell, down goes Frazier. Did you see that ass-whooping Frazier was getting? But he just kept coming back. He kept getting up, kept getting up. Okay, Joe, it was expected. Remember that fight with Aaron Pryor and Alexis Arguello.
Oh gosh!
You see the punishment? Yeah, Arguello.
Yep.
There was never a thought of quitting in Arguello's mind. Okay, it was just. I mean, they were just battlers, Joe. They were fighters. Vinny Pazienza, another guy. Jesus, another guy that's just full of full of rage and energy when he fights, man. When he gets hurt, or you know what I mean. It's just Joe. They were fighters back then, man. Look at all those wars they had. Sugar Ray Robinson, LaMotta, the punishment them guys took, and how they battled back and everything. But I just remember the guys I were with and the fights I remember seeing. God, Joe Frazier, Ali. I mean, Joe Frazier, Ali. Oh, what a epic war! Especially the third fight. Oh my God, that was how about Ken Norton versus Larry Holmes, 15th round. Who wants it more? Okay, Joe. Who wants it more? The fight was even. Who wanted it more? Okay, both fighters were taking hellacious punishment through the whole fight. But who wanted it more? Who bit down? Who had that? Both fighters had that mental intestinal fortitude to fight through pain, the punishment. But in Larry Holmes, he had just a little bit more that won him that round, and he became heavyweight champion of the world. Okay, how about Holyfield when he fought Bo? Okay, Bo Holyfield, the first one. I was there. Okay, you see what I mean, Joe? Back then they were fucking fighters. Okay, Hagler when he fought Hearn. Oh my God! Look at the punishment Hagler had to go through. Okay, to finally get to Hearn. Okay, because when you get hit by the right hands by Tommy Hearns. Nowadays, if Tommy Hearns hit any of these bitches with that right hand, they wouldn't get up. Okay? All right? Tommy Hearns was a murderous puncher. And if he hit Golovkin, Canelo, who else in the middleweight division? The Charlos. If he hit him with that right hand like he hit Hagler, them guys wouldn't have got up. Okay? But Hagler, oh, Jesus, how he survived those right hands. Oh. Just so many, Joe, so many battles. I remember Jose Luis Ramirez, another warrior, man. Oh, I remember that time, fight of the year. I think it was in '84. He fought Edwin Rosario. Oh, but Rosario was a vicious puncher. Edwin Chapo Rosario, champion, the WBC champion. He hit Rosario with the biggest bombs. Dropped him in the first, dropped him in the second. But Ramirez, ballsy, gutty, Mexican warrior. He withstood the hurricane, the storm of heavy punches from Rosario and turned the tide around, eventually stopping him and everything. But Jesus, the punishment he had to go through of them big bombs by Rosario. Like I said, Joe, Chapo Rosario. If he was fighting in the lightweight division nowadays, he would knock all of them out. Okay. He would knock all of them out. Haney, Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis. Now, Lopez would give him a hard time because he's quick and everything. But if he hits Lopez, he's going to be on his ass. Okay, Lomachenko, that's Edwin Chapo Rosario. Okay, if he hits him with them big right hands, he was a vicious puncher. Okay, he would knock all of them out. Oh, Chavez, you know what I mean? Julio, you know what I mean? He went through a lot of punishment when he fought Meldrick Taylor. Before he got that big right hand in there, and Richard still stopped the fight. Like I said, Joe, it's different mindset. You know what it is, Joe? Fighters back then had bigger balls than these motherfuckers nowadays. All right, that's the bottom line.
Well, I tell you what, I tell you what, for our entertainment dollar, we caught a glimpse of that this past Saturday. I love the fight. I love the back and forth action. I love the willingness of both fighters to engage, the heart, the toughness. It was a glimpse of what boxing could be again. Now, whether we see that on a consistent basis, that remains to be seen. But when asked what he thought of Ryan Garcia's performance on Saturday, well, his promoter, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, had this to say about it. He said, quote, the way he was able to get up, we knew it was a flash knockdown, but it was a scary flash knockdown. That was a vicious left hand, a really brutal shot. I don't think very many fighters nowadays could have gotten up from that. But he became a man on Saturday. That's all there is to it. He needed this fight for validation. He needed this fight to prove to the boxing world that he belongs with the elite. And he passed with flying colors, in my opinion. It was an A-plus performance as far as we're concerned at Golden Boy, end quote. So that's a very bold statement. Now, yeah, I'm sure Oscar De La Hoya was very relieved when he saw the way he came back from that knockdown. But let's go back to his statement. He needed this fight to prove to the boxing world that he belongs with the elite. In your opinion, Gogue, is Ryan Garcia ready to take on the elite at 135 pounds? Because post-fight, he was very quick to call out both Gervonta Davis as well as Devin Haney. Is he ready for that kind of competition?
Well, if he wants him, give it to him, okay? He's talking. Now, give it to him. Lopez was doing the same thing. And, they gave the fight to him. And Teofimo Lopez proved it in the ring. Give the fight to him. Do I think he's ready for them guys? No. But give it to him, okay? Let him fight. But honestly, Joe, when you got a fighter like that that's on the verge of becoming hot, man, I try to keep him away from Tank. Tank's a brutal puncher, and he's not only a brutal puncher, he's a very skilled fighter. My only critique of him is he's a lazy fat fuck between fights. He don't like to train. He gets too heavy. He lacks discipline. He doesn't apply his craft. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 364 days a year. Okay, to me, he's a half-ass professional in becoming a fighter. Okay, a guy like that never is going to reach his potential in this fucking game with that shitty ass work ethic he has. Okay, that's my biggest concern. But as far as his ability, he's improved now as a fighter too. Tank, he's polished up a lot. I can see, in his skill sets, his mentality, his variety of offense, the way he adjusts better, all around, Joe, he's a better all-around fighter, explosive puncher. But, like I said, Mr. Fat Boy don't like to train between fights. Mr. Fat Boy likes to eat like a pig. You know what I mean? Mr. Fat Boy is a poster boy for obesity when it comes to fighters. Okay, but anyway, you can't question his God-given ability and everything. Now, Garcia can hurt him if he hits him. Garcia can hurt any of them guys. Okay, but I just think, this guy's raw still, Joe. He's raw. Like I said, he has a lot of God-given talent, but he just doesn't have the skills yet. And God dang, he should have. That's why that was my biggest critique of Robert when he was developing this kid. He was getting him to all these quick knockouts. The kid wasn't learning nothing. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah.
Robert was scared to put him in with somebody tougher, give him some good quality rounds, so this kid can learn what his weaknesses are and what he needs to improve on them, and give him that experience, getting them rounds under his belt. But he was getting all those quick knockouts and shit. Well, guess what, Joe? Now he's playing with the big boys now. All that stuff, all those skills he should have been developing in the 4, 6, 8 round stage and the early 10 round stage should be there with him right now, but they're not. And, if you're going into bigger fights, are you going to get those skill sets? It doesn't work like that, Joe. You do that from the beginning of your career and add on these skills, add on all the stuff, the skills you need coming up that you're missing. Canelo did that. You can see Canelo has evolved into a real damn good fighter and everything, okay? But Garcia, he hasn't. You know what I mean? He hasn't. He's missing all those skill sets. It's going to bite him in the ass, when he starts fighting these tougher guys, the guys he wants to fight. He stands up way too straight, Joe. He's like a telephone pole, like a heavy bag. You know what I mean? No head movement. You know what I mean? Drops his hands. You know what I mean? He's got to be more intelligent in using his footwork. Okay, instead of standing, having just planting his feet standing right in front of you like a fucking heavy bag. Learn how to use his footwork, moving in and out of range. Now, he made that adjustment in the fight. As the fight went on, you seen him stepping back 1-2 steps out of range, just making Luke Campbell miss, okay? Instead of just standing there like a punching bag and taking the punch, you'll see him. As the fight went on, he started making that adjustment. I said, okay, he's starting to make that adjustment with his defense, using his feet. But, that's just one thing he needs to work on. How about his head movement? How about that? The main thing is that jab. He's got the tools to do it, Joe, but they're raw and green. And he doesn't have the boxing IQ, Joe, which is more important. Developing skill sets is one thing, okay, like learning how to fight inside, learning how to throw different combinations, angles and all that shit. But having the IQ, knowing when to do it in a fight, that's a different story. Lomachenko, he's good as you get. He's got all the skill sets, and he's got all the height, and he's got a tremendous boxing IQ, okay, on how to use his skill sets. And this kid, like I said, he uses more of it. Right now, he's getting away more with his natural God-given ability on what he has to win these fights, instead of all the skill sets that he's missing right now that he should already had under his belt. Which he's going to need. Which he's going to need to beat them badasses.
If I didn't know any better, brother, I would think that you were describing a 135-pound version of Deontay Wilder.
He's not that bad. Wilder's just shit. Okay, Wilder's amateurish, but he can hit. Wilder's explosive and he can punch. Okay, he's amateur, sloppy as fuck, wild, but he can punch. In the heavyweight division, a lot of guys can't fight. A lot of guys are just. Well, the heavyweight division now is a fucking joke. Okay. All right, it's a fucking joke. A lot of them guys can't fight. But Garcia, yeah, he's still raw and green. And, can Eddie, his coach, bring it out on him, develop all those things he's missing? I mean, I'm going by the odds. Probabilities are very low. Look, Eddie Reynoso's getting a good name in boxing because of Canelo. Oh, they look at Canelo, but that's Canelo. Okay, yep. Canelo's a God-given, once-in-a-generation talent. He has the ability to do all that stuff, without Reynoso teaching him. Okay, he's got all those God-given reflexes, the upper body athleticism and agility to make you slip and all that. The natural God-given punching power. The ability to throw, those creative combinations and what do you call it? The instincts and all that shit. That's God-given. Okay, I mean, Reynoso used to train his other brothers, but they never were, they never amounted to nothing because they were not Canelo. Okay, I always say it ain't the coach, it's the horse. Okay, and he's got a good horse. So the thing is, he's got like Oscar Valdez. You think he's gonna make him like good as Canelo when he fights Alacom Burchell? Hell no, Burchell's gonna knock him out. Or Frank Sanchez, that guy's garbage, that heavyweight. Or who else did he got? Or Fat Boy Andy Ruiz is more like he'll just have to get him in shape, okay? All right? He'll just have to get him in shape and everything. Because, like I said, it's the horse, not the trainer.
Indeed. A trainer is only as strong as the horses that he jockeys. That's something that Don used to always tell us. But I tell you what, one person who agrees with you, Gogue, is his mentor, Canelo Alvarez. This is what he had to say about, whether or not he feels Garcia is ready for the elite at 135 pounds. He said this, quote, Ryan is going to be ready very soon for everybody. He has a lot of potential to beat anybody. I want to see him, though, have a couple more fights under his belt, and then he'll be ready to beat anybody at 135 pounds, end quote. So obviously Canelo shares your same concerns. So that leads us to our next segment, Gogue. De La Hoya, backing up his fighter, calling out Gervonta Davis, says, you know what, I'd love that fight for Cinco de Mayo weekend, but Eddie Hearn wants to activate that mandatory challenge for his fighter, Devin Haney, and pair up Ryan Garcia with him. If you were Ryan Garcia's manager, where would you actually place him next? Is he ready for either fighter, or do you see an alternative route in his future?
And Haney, he talks a lot of shit. He looked like shit when he fought that old man. What's his name? Gamboa. Yeah, you know what I mean. If I want to take a chance, I go for Haney. To me, you know, a guy that he doesn't fight enough. The way he looked against Gamboa, he didn't show me shit. Because if you're any type of badass, you should have took out a guy like an old man like Gamboa, okay? And he didn't. So, will that fight happen? I don't know the way these motherfuckers are nowadays. They want to over-marinate this shit till, 2030. But that's a fight I would take. I would risk.
Or do you see maybe an alternative opponent? Do you see a different opponent that you think maybe Oscar, Roberto Diaz, Eric Gomez, after watching the fight again, do you think they might actually point him in a different direction and say throw him in the ring with Jorge Linares?
That'd be a good fight. Older guy, former world champion, a lot of experience, talented, but he's very chinny. Yeah, Ryan hits him. Yeah, he'll knock him out. But this kid got this Linares. He might be over the two, but he's still got a lot of skill. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of savvy. Okay, so that would be. But Garcia, if he hits him, especially with his left hook, he'll hurt Linares and everything. That's a good fight. Or even that fucking what's his name? Hestus, Marcito Hestus. That'd be a good little, tune up and everything.
Ah, yeah, Marcito Hesta. Absolutely. From the Philippines.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a look at who Gogue thinks is the best in terms of the young guns at 135 pounds. Let's see who Gogue rates as the best to worst. We'll start with who you see as being the best lightweight in the world in terms of the young talent. And we'll rattle them off to you. Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Devin Haney, Gervonta Davis, and Ryan Garcia. Those are the big five that everyone is currently talking about and are discussing potential matchups at 135 pounds. Out of that big five, who is the best in your mind, Gogue?
Oh, Teofimo Lopez, number one, undisputed, no question, no doubt. He proved it in the ring. He beat the number one guy, Vasyl Lomachenko. He's the best. Okay, everybody else get the fucking line.
Well, who do you rate at number two?
Vasyl Lomachenko. Do you
think, Gogue, do you think that even though Teofimo Lopez has stated that, well, I don't really see the need for a rematch, well, do you think ESPN is going to want that fight? Because it seems that Lomachenko has now had a change of heart and wants a rematch, and it's obviously the easiest fight for Top Rank to make for both fighters. Do you see that rematch happening in 2021?
The money's right for Lopez. Yeah, I can see it happening. He's in the driver's seat now. Okay, he calls the shot. He could say he can give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, and everything. But you got what else fights can he fight out there? No, Haney don't want none. Garcia, they're not gonna. They don't want. Guarantee you they don't want none. I mean, come on. I mean, who else do they got? That boy Tank Davis. I know Floyd ain't gonna put him in there with Lopez. All them guys are gonna be avoiding Teofimo. They don't want none of them. He's the best lightweight out there.
Okay, well then, who do you see as number three? Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, or Devin Haney?
Gervonta Tank Davis. He's number three.
Yeah, Gervonta Davis. He's got very impressive skill, deep amateur pedigree. He's got a home run power in both hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be a lot for anyone to deal with at 135 pounds, as long as he can stay disciplined and keep it together. So round us out in number 4 and number 5, Ryan Garcia or Devin Haney?
Both tied. They're both tied. Maybe, they like I said, Haney didn't show me shit when he fought Gamboa, okay? He didn't. He runs his mouth a lot, okay? His career has been totally handpicked opponents, okay? So I'm going with, I'll give him, both, put him in a tie. You know what I mean?
It's funny. If he does fight, once again, let's apply Mr. Chargan's logic. Don't get too high in a prospect until you see how well he can take a punch and fight through adversity. We have yet to see anything like that from Devin Haney. So, the verdict's still out on Devin Haney. I would actually rate him number 5 for that reason. In terms of overall technical ability, Devin Haney is a more complete fighter than Ryan Garcia. But just like, and I brought up Deontay Wilder, just like Deontay Wilder, though, because of the natural athletic gifts and the freakish power of Ryan Garcia, he's in each and every fight, it would seem. Did I miss something there, Gogue?
Nah, pretty much got it. That's where I would order. Garcia, that Haney, they're pretty much, the lower tier of the top 5 and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and once again, when you look at that big 5, right, Gervonta Davis does fight for Floyd Mayweather Promotions, and he's advised by Al Heyman. He's a PBC guy. So logically you would think, in my opinion, I don't think anyone else has to worry about that. I would be very, very surprised if Mayweather and Gervonta Davis actually took that fight with Oscar and Ryan Garcia. In my opinion, the next fight you're going to see with Gervonta Davis is going to be Gary Russell Jr. at 130 pounds, if he can still make that weight. Would you agree with that, Gogue? Because he's been advised by the biggest obstructionist in boxing.
Yeah, that would be a good fight at 130. Yeah, that would be a very intriguing fight. Undefeated Russell, superbly talented, fast hands, explosive. Yeah, against a young buck like, Gervonta Davis. Yeah, it would be a good matchup, East Coast matchup. Put it in Baltimore. That would, that would really pack the house over there.
Indeed, and I do see Ryan Garcia actually taking on Jorge Linares in the interim, and then probably Devin Haney by the end of the year, which leads us to Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, I can see Top Rank and ESPN wanting that rematch because it was such a big ratings draw. So that's how I see the lightweight division kind of filling out this year. So despite Ryan Garcia calling out Gervonta Davis, I don't see that fight happening anytime soon. Do you, Gogue?
Joe, we're in an era where big fights don't get made. It doesn't surprise me if it doesn't get made.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, unfortunately, truer words were never spoken, brother. So I'll say this. Now that we've actually rattled off your Coach Gogue's ranking 1 through 5, right, with Lopez, Lomachenko, Davis, and Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney tied for 4 and 5. Now, who's the biggest attraction at 135 pounds? Because that's going to determine a lot in terms of which fights get made. So, in your mind, 1 through 5, who's the biggest attraction right now of all the young guns at 35?
Well, you talk to Mayweather, they think Fat Boy's the next pay-per-view star, and we'll look at his numbers, what he did. You know what I mean? But he has proven that he packs them in, and he did a good crowd in New York, Atlanta, and L.A. So Garcia is going to be the bigger draw, the bigger attraction eventually. Okay, he just Tank. He's got a head start on him and everything. But right now, I got to give it to Tank. He's probably he's proven himself at the gate. Garcia, when we get rid of this COVID shit, he'll get a chance. With this fight last night, and the way he won was huge for his career. So he'll start packing them in too. You know what I mean? But Garcia got the Latin fan base, which is the number one fan base in America behind him. Okay, that's his edge over Fat Boy King Davis. Is ability to, he's gonna draw the Mexican American fans all over, especially on the West Coast, to support him. And good looking guy. He's got a lot of the young females. They're gonna want to come to his fights and everything. So eventually, Ryan Garcia is going to be the bigger attraction than Fat Boy.
Yeah, he definitely has the most potential in terms of, say what you want about, and before this fight, everyone was kind of calling him an Instagram star, a social media fighter. But to tell you what, with all of his followers on social media and everyone who's currently, his name was trending on Google yesterday. That's huge. That means everyone was searching for him. So, yeah, he's got a huge upside. Yeah. Now, in terms of being the next golden boy, do you see him tilting more towards Oscar De La Hoya, or do you think he may prove to be the next Victor Ortiz, Gogue?
He's got to win big fights, Joe. All that shit, all the predictions, you got to win the fights. Once you keep winning big fights, yeah, then you're gonna what do you call it? Achieve that superstar status like Oscar did. Okay, you got to win it, Joe. The bottom line is, it don't matter how many fucking people you got following on Instagram, which he's got, 7-8 million. He's probably got more than Canelo right now. No, I'm seriously. Mm-hmm. This kid's got social media, especially on Instagram. Just like those celebrities in Hollywood. Okay, he's got easily the biggest following on Instagram than anybody in boxing. Facebook, Twitter, he's got 450,000 followers, not bad and everything. But like I said, Joe, yeah, this kid got a big following of fans. Okay, now I want to see, which I think, if he moved the needle on the zone subscriptions, people tuning in or people signing up for the zone package. Okay, I want to see if they had increased membership because of Ryan Garcia fighting on the zone. Okay, now if he could do that like Canelo, every time Canelo fights, he moves the needle, meaning a lot of people tune in, a lot of people want to sign up for the zone. If he can start doing that, then hey, okay, all right, okay then, yeah, he's becoming that what do you call it? That it, okay, as they call in boxing. That that you know what I mean, that special type of fighter that only a few have that ability to move that needle. Canelo right now, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua in England, not over here. He don't mean shit here. England he does, same as Tyson Fury. But in America, Canelo, yeah, he's the only one that has that it factor. And it's not Earl Spence. It ain't what the fuck, the Charlos or Gervonta Davis. Just look at their pay-per-views. The real numbers, not that shit they claim to have done, okay? All right, just look at the guys like Canelo are right now, he's the only guy that can move the needle in boxing over here in the States. Indeed. Well, Gogue, it looks like we're at the end of the line. Do you have any parting shots or last final thoughts on Ryan Garcia's knockout performance, his coming out party, if you will, over against Luke Campbell in the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, in which they drew a COVID-restricted but full house of 6,000 fans? No, it was great for boxing, Joe. Look, when you got a highly emotional, energized crowd behind a certain fighter, okay, he's not even from Dallas, okay, Joe. That's what got my attention. Okay, he's from the West Coast, and he went into Dallas, sold out all the tickets he had. I guarantee you, if they had more on sale, they would have, what do you call it? They would have sold those tickets too. And just the energy, the excitement in the crowd that was behind him, okay. And Joe, it transferred to television. It transferred over to TV where it got you excited watching the damn fight. Okay? Indeed. That's what makes boxing exciting, is when you got these arenas packed and the energy of the crowd is behind their fighter, and people that are watching the fight, they get intrigued by it. They get excited by it, okay? That's how you create new fans in boxing, okay? That's how you grow this fucking sport. And they did, Ryan Garcia, like I said, it was important for boxing that he won last night and the way he won, okay? And, like I said, him getting knocked down, very compelling fight. Like I said, I give the guy, you know me, Joe, I call it like it is. I just don't give out, what do you call it, participation awards. You know what I mean? Fuck, you know what I mean, Joe. If you finish second or third, fourth place, they give you a fucking trophy. Yeah, I don't give out participation awards. You got to pretty much earn it. And Ryan Garcia, he did. Yeah, he took that first step, Joe. He took that first step.
Indeed. A couple of things before we let you go, Gogue. Did you notice that Canelo Alvarez had on his Matchroom Sport mask when he was actually talking to Oscar De La Hoya?
He was not, Joe. If you notice that when he was in the ring, he didn't even look at Oscar.
Nope.
And when he saw Oscar, I remember that when I looked at him, when I saw him, after he got done talking to Ryan, he walked past Oscar. He just turned his back on him. He didn't want to. He didn't want nothing to do with Oscar. He didn't want to say nothing to Oscar. Now Bernard Hopkins, who was there, went up to him and they talked and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see that. Yep.
Yeah, him and Bernard were talking because he ain't got no. But it's his boss. Something like I said, man. It was a bad split, Joe. There was there must have been some. I don't get into politics, but when you got a relationship like that and it turns real sour, now you don't even want to look the guy in the face. Yeah, it was a bad split and everything. And Golden Boy, I have a lot of suspicions. I don't want to go over it. I don't want to talk about it. And to me, that's their problem, not mine. But like I said, Canelo now, he's a free agent. He could call the shots without being tied down to Golden Boy. But that was a huge loss when they lost Canelo. Because like I said,
yep.
What is he? 94% of the revenue that company makes is from Canelo. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
wait a minute.
Loss.
You just said you have your suspicions, but you don't want to talk about it. Are you really going to drop that nugget and not talk about it, Gogue?
Nah, man, I don't want to throw people under the bus, man. I pretty much damn know what happened, man. I figured it out on myself talking to people, and
come on, man, come on.
I don't want to talk about.
Just you and I and a couple of thousand people listening.
No, I don't want to talk about. I pretty much got a good idea. What happened. No, I'm pretty damn positive. Just talking to people, and I'm not talking about just regular people that know the situation. But to me, man, to me that's their problems. That's their office politics, and I don't get involved no more.
Well, I tell you what. After the show, you guys are just going to have to wonder what Gogue's going to tell me when the microphone's not on.
Look, man, Joe, he left them. There was a reason why he wanted to get the fuck out of that relationship, and it was a good. And there were, you just don't. Not become happy one day and just decide to leave. It was a process over the last couple of years. Things Canelo wasn't happy with. And like I said, I'd rather get into it. That's their problem. And I'm glad for Canelo. He got his problem straightened out. He's not on the shelf. And boxing's number one star over here on this side of the pond could continue fighting and make boxing, right now it's a dying sport, Joe. All right?
Yeah.
So every time you got guys like Canelo fighting, keeping the sport alive, or young kids like Garcia coming up, creating – bringing his new fan base into the sport is keeping the sport alive. So nothing but love for them guys, man. You know what I mean? Nothing but serious love for both fighters.
Indeed. Guys, he's James Gogue. You can hear him every single Sunday on War Week Radio. James, thank you so much for, once again, a very enlightening show, brother. God bless you, man. Thank you for so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. But, guys, that's going to just about do it. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. And in case you missed any part of this program, you can hear it on our YouTube channel. Go visit War Week Radio Network on YouTube. But on behalf of Mr. James Gogue, I'm Joseph Hearn. You've been listening to War Week Radio Network. Have a great Sunday evening, everybody.